Thank you all for coming on a pretty hot and steamy night. I'm hoping for a quick meeting so we all can get back to our air conditioning and watch people swimming on television. Just that alone keeps you cool. Anyway. The minutes of June 16th are still not ready. We've been waiting for notes from Margaret Curtis LeMay. We've made several requests. If you remember, the 16th was 3 days after Anna started, so Margaret was here helping with taking the notes. And I don't know why it's been difficult getting the notes from her, but we haven't finished those minutes. We do have the minutes of the 28th as a draft. I've read through them, and there are some typographical errors that I'd like to correct before they get posted on the website. All right, so let's postpone actually approving those minutes until the next meeting. But we can get them, the draft posted as soon as I get the corrections done. Okay? Okay, does that sound all right?
I'll go through it. I'll have a chance to read tomorrow and go through it.
Okay. All right. The manifest for today. Jane, can you tell us about what mic the video recording is? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, we are video recording this. Cookie, is this your camera up here?
Yes, it is.
Again? Does everybody have permission to get captured on a private video tape here? And Mike, that's your private one, right?
This is mine.
That's the town's. Okay. All right.
This is mine / backup for you guys. And
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. This check. So, what happened? Can you tell us?
I have a copy of the check right here. I
Yeah.
checked this past week for $616.06.
That was to cover 2 invoices, right?
Well, yeah, but that's not the format it's supposed to be written in. It's actually the town of Dorchester, 368 North Dorchester Road, which I didn't recognize as a town address. It's 1021 and 1061, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I brought it to the bank, and they're suspect. They ran it through their app for bad checks, and they actually came up suspect, so I put a
No
stop
kidding.
on it. Yep. $15 charge, so I need that back. I'm going to retrieve the check from them and give it back to you, but it can't be written in that format. We're employees. It has to be written as 2 separate checks and 2 separate
Right.
social security numbers because it has to be W-2.
Right.
That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So.
I don't know why it happened that way this time. We'll certainly reimburse you $15
Right.
for
Well,
that.
that's that right there.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to be clear on what happened, and so we had it on the record too.
Yep.
I'm sorry about this.
Yeah, well, I am too. It's like, I don't know what's going on. It's like the chain of command.
So, well, it shouldn't have. It should have been 2 checks per usual, and why it didn't happen.
Yeah, I just like to make a comment too. It's like it's a good thing we don't depend on that income as a necessary thing at the end of the month because we're waiting 4 months for it. And what usually happens is paid out of the general fund, and like the cost share isn't always guaranteed by the state. Even though we submit a bill to you, it's cost share 50-50 with the state. If it's not cost share, you still have to pay the bill. So it'd be much appreciated if you pay a little bit closer attention to it in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jane. Anything else in the manifest? We got a big step there. Janet, I don't see Artie here, so are you signing the checks tonight?
I am, yes.
Yes, okay. Okay.
Get you signed, Janet?
Karen.
There you go.
I know, I'm just renaming people.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you.
He gets to you after a while, you know. All right, well, since we don't have Bertie here, we won't have a treasurer's report. Right. I haven't read that, but I don't think there's anything to announce in particular. Highway. Want to make, update everybody on where we are with highway things. Larry Walker Sr. and Ernie Marsh helped us out and did a complete inventory of everything that was in the highway shed and the equipment in the yard. It was extremely helpful. They did that last week. The highway yard itself, I'll be frank with you, it's a mess. It's a real dump. And I went down and I've taken 152 photographs of the condition of the yard, so we have it in the record, and I'm still not done. So, so there's more to photograph. There is some, I had thought about maybe having a volunteer day and having, some of us residents go down there and clean it up, but there's some liability issues there. There's wood that's studded with rusty nails, there's chemicals, there's all kinds of stuff. So the prudent thing to do is to hire a bonded crew that can clean it up and get rid of all the trash and take care of everything and just have it done for us.
Is that going to be billed to the road agent?
No, it won't be.
He's not responsible for any of that?
According to the town attorney, the only way that the road agent is responsible to pay for something like that is if we could show deliberate damage. Which is
pretty deliberate, that's what he did.
Well, it's hard to prove, so it's difficult to prove. So we're not going to bill the road agent for it.
Okay.
I think also that it's the smartest thing to do is to hire the new road agent and let the new road agent direct the cleanup of the highway yard, so that the highway yard is put into the condition that the new road agent wants, with equipment where he wants it, and all of that. We are also going to have the highway shed inspected for any violations of code. I am suspicious that there are several violations of code, and we need to find out what those are, so we can get that building up to scratch and legal.
Or are you going to hold the road agent responsible for digging a pit in the highway garage, which is illegal?
When we do the inspection, we will get the documentation for that, and we'll get into it. Bill?
How are you going to hold the road agent responsible for that? Because that was his action for sure.
We will. I want to cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay.
I'm just asking.
I'm sorry. Bill, yes.
It's my understanding there's no building code in Dorchester.
Yeah, but it's a well, it's a public building, and there are state building codes. I mean, electric has to be in conduit, things like that.
Okay, that was one what
Yeah,
code they were
yeah,
using.
so.
One
John.
issue in there, I was up there briefly because I was walking. I'm not sure that.
Right.
There's a set of stairs going to the other level, and me and the carpenter and so you don't put plywood on the stairs for an underlayment. You need something firmer than that because that could be a code violation.
Right, and there's also
You need to have something firmer.
and there's no banister on those. Well, there wasn't any banister on those stairs, but
Generally, you have to use maple or some part of them.
right.
Something like
I need an OSB.
Yeah.
or you have to use a yellow pine.
So I've talked to the town's insurance company about the best way to handle inspections,
Right.
and because they of course have a great interest in this.
But little thing.
And so their recommendation was is that we hire somebody from an architectural firm to come and take a good look and give us a full report about it.
Makes sense.
So that's where we are with highway. Brian Souza, hang on just a second, David. Brian Souza, who's on the search committee, was out of town on vacation for a week, so the search committee has not yet met, right?
No, I'm gonna get a hold of him as soon as possible, now that he's back from vacation, to set up their first meeting.
Okay, all right. I know we've already had one application and some interest from some others, so.
And the committee will set up the ad for putting in the paper.
Okay, all right, great. And creating a job description.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
David?
Yeah, not to be a pain in the butt, since I was talking about liabilities and stuff, I was wondering if we could make a policy that nobody drives any of the town equipment unless they got the proper licensing, CBLs, backhoes down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whoever moved it, did they have a CBL?
Who,
Current?
wait, who moved it?
The 6 years.
I don't know, went flying by my house one day a couple weeks ago.
Who's driving? I don't know.
I think Larry's dead.
Was driving what?
Tobacco.
Yes, I believe he brought it back.
Well, in the future, if we could have somebody with a current CDL, it would be good.
Yes, because he picked up the backhoe in the bucket.
All right. Does he have a current
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, you're right.
There's a grader and a truck down on Providence Road, are they gonna be picking that up?
Yes, the truck has a dead battery in it because the radio was left on in it. So we have to get it jump started to get it moved. Bill?
There are potholes on Hearst House and Street Woods at least that have been filled in with sand and dirt.
I've noticed that too, and I don't know who did that.
I do. Ernie Marsh.
Oh, really?
Yes, he went down to some
He
stands
just was trying to,
to help
fill
him
in
fill in some holes on his own time and just to help out.
Well, that was nice of him. I appreciate that, but I'll talk to Ernie. We would need to be informed about that. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from somebody's good Samaritan deed, but we would need to know when somebody's gonna work on the roads.
well, he wasn't,
Byways.
he was just putting a little dirt in him.
All right,
Mike has a question.
okay, I'm sorry, Mike.
One quick question. How much money do we have left in highway?
I don't know, I haven't looked at the budget lately about that. So, we're saving a little bit of money on payroll at the moment.
My bet.
We're not using much gas.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to dip into the highway budget to pay for the cleanup of the yard.
Right.
And if there are expenses involved with bringing the building up to code, that will be on the highway budget. Anything else on the highway from anybody? We're trying to do this as quickly as we can, but we also want to do it, well, what we want to do is we want to hire the right road agent for Dorchester. And we want to make sure that we take the necessary time. So, doing it as quickly as we can, but as best we can. That's great.
I just had a question about when the building was built down there for the road department. Was, I believe Dean did the construction, right?
That was before my time.
So I think it was done by the road agent. Was he required to follow those codes that are put forth by the state?
I would assume so, but don't take my word for it. Okay, 'cause
Is it, I mean, you could just ask the attorney to see if that
yeah,
was,
we, certainly.
Great, I think I could help with
Okay,
that.
thanks.
Great, just to help answer that. I think Dean had some ideas to begin with, that the building was essentially finished by Randy O'Toole.
okay.
That's all I know. They were working on it quite a while.
John, do you know, are there approved blueprints for that building?
I'm sorry.
Are there approved blueprints for that building?
I know.
Okay. I've never seen any of it. Okay.
It was something attached, and just kind of happened, it came out of the road budget, there were lots of questions.
Yes.
Lots of issues, I'm sure.
All right. So that's where we are with highway. I appreciate everybody's patience in town. I know it's hard to drive over the bumpy roads and know that there's not anybody out there working on them, but we are really working hard to do this right. And the condition of the highway yard has complicated the situation somewhat and taken up an enormous amount of time. So we're trying to get it all ship-shape.
This one by, not in both things. In the summer we get storms, trees fall over,
Right.
he's picking that up.
Oh, good question. Larry, you want to answer?
Larry, do it?
Once a week, until we have somebody, once a week, I'm going around driving all the roads in Dorchester and checking and making sure they're passable. And last week, I noticed some trees that were gonna fall down on Hearst House Road, some storm damage, and we got somebody to come take care of them so they wouldn't fall on anybody. And they chipped up the brush from the last, from the, I believe it was the same storm that was up a little ways on the corner near the cemetery.
We're bound to get a good thunderstorm with a blow on it somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially after the sea.
Probably like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
All right.
So, one more question.
Okay, sure.
So you're saying it's hard to prove that that damage was done deliberately? Sorry. Even though these are been proven to be negligent with other things in town, like the big safe, calling big safe, and
Well, there's
not following the code of ethics that were there, and
Trash in the pit.
I understand, but it's not like that doesn't go hand in hand.
I don't want to have an episode of Law and Order here, but
Legally, I'm asking, like, I just wanted to know.
no, I know. I understand.
It's curious.
Legally, there's a distinction between negligence and deliberate or intent, and it's a pretty big distinction. So, negligence is easier to prove than deliberate.
Okay.
All right, the TLC tree and crane service proposal. Larry, can you talk about this a bit? Because TLC is the company that did the tree work, right, on Hearst House?
Yes,
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to review the proposal.
Okay.
I just got it the other day.
Okay, all right. Do you want to?
But basically, I believe he was, I can read it though.
Okay.
TLC Tree and Crane Services made a proposal to sweep town paved roads for safety where required from winter sand that was never cleaned up, to mow the side right-of-ways along the town roads as required, repair culvert header on River Road for safety and getting ready for winter, repair and fill in low spots on paved shoulders on Hearst House Road where required for safety and getting ready for winter. That was his proposal.
Are they applying to be the road department? In other words,
Maybe break it down and look at break it down into separate things like trimming the roadsides of brush.
I agree. Let's.
Is there a price on that? Does he have a
No, there isn't, unfortunately. So it isn't like we just do it.
open order?
So Mike,
Is that the only person you spoke with?
So far,
I mean, and Larry got in touch with him just to get the trees out.
Right.
So
we had trees that were going to fall down, so he was the first one I could get a hold of to come take care of them as soon as possible, so that they wouldn't fall in somebody's car.
So then they went ahead and then made this proposal.
So then then as they did the brush around town, they come up, see this other stuff, and come up with this proposal to try and help us out.
I think we need a few more details about that.
Yes.
And maybe a number.
I definitely wouldn't give that numbers, no.
Okay. Let's follow up on that with some more conversation.
Yeah.
Between now and the next slide. Okay. All right. That sounds great. Old business. Did you call LexisNexis about the books? You were gonna check into the price of buying a new copy of the RSAs, hard copy of the RSAs.
Slipped my mind then. I don't remember this.
All right. Okay. All right, you said that you, you said that you would, find out what a set of our books of the RSA.
No, I didn't do it. No.
All right, that's all. Whatever the price is, we do have a credit of some hundreds of dollars in. Right. So we can find, anyway, let's just find out what it set costs. Because even though they're online, not everybody has access to online. And then also the updates that we receive aren't really very good or useful without the original RSA.
Yep.
All right.
I'll check into it this next week.
Okay. The town forester and the third select person, both related. We haven't moved on either one because I unexpectedly had to make a trip to Kentucky this week for a few days, so we haven't done anything about that, but that's coming up this coming. All right.
For the town forester, would it be possible to do the interviews this next week?
Yeah, I think so. I'll talk to Andrew about that. All right. Larry, do you have anything else?
Chiva Chapel, should
Okay.
go ahead with getting it surveyed?
So we could never find the old.
No, I can't find anything on it. No, we can find anything on it.
All right, yeah, we've already designated the money for it in the budget, so let's go ahead and get it surveyed then. Okay. Put that to rest.
Have you looked at the papers for the Chiva Chapel? At one point, I did see a division, a map that divided that property from the other. And what we were told in a public meeting was that the owners of that house were under the impression they had that, and the town had taxed it that way, and that they only had to contact their insurance company to get that off of their insurance, and that it was then turned over to the town.
Well,
Because there is a quick claim deed.
is there?
Yes.
Because what I was going by was back in the middle to late 70s, my father had it surveyed out, and paid for that, we did his property, and I contacted Kevin French trying to find his father's paperwork
Yeah.
to prove it. We can't find anything where it was surveyed out.
I have some of the papers from that. Unfortunately, Grace has the rest of the papers and has not turned them over to the Historic Society. Kate actually had them compiled, and I asked her to give her to Grace because she was on the board of the Historic Society.
Yeah.
And she still has not turned those papers over to the Historic Society. Elizabeth, I think, tried to contact her and get those.
Yeah.
But that has some of that material in there.
Okay, that'd
And
be
I
great.
may actually have some copies of some material at my house, which I will go through for you.
Okay.
But, yeah, there is a lot that happened with the board after that, and
Yeah.
if we could get those papers from Grace, maybe we could see those.
That would be great, and save us some money too.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, did you have a?
That was it, because we talked at the historic district meeting about getting those papers.
Right.
I don't know if the survey's in there, but
If it is, it would be great.
yeah.
But all of that, what happened in the 70s, 80s, and 90s is in there.
Okay.
Early 2000s.
Darlene?
But if it's not recorded at Grafton County Deeds, that's the problem.
Right, and
So you have to have a survey.
as I understand it, it's not recorded at the county.
No, it is not.
Well, unable to find the recordings, right?
So even if something's drawn out, it doesn't make it legal. And that's the problem with their mortgage company and the insurance of trying to separate it out because there's no distinction.
Ah.
All right. Well, let's see what Betty has in her paperwork, and maybe there's something we can work with on the county that is official without us having to pay for a survey. But if
Maybe
we have-
Pat could contact Grace and see if she could get you the rest of those materials so that they might be in that.
I'll
Okay.
speak with her, but I know they were given to her personally.
No, they were
So
not.
That
I
might
was
be-
with-
That might be a bit of an issue
Right, that is an issue for Grace.
for you.
Okay. Larry, anything else? Okay, public comments? Anybody? John?
Very simple, not another housekeeping chart. Where are the bank books for the trust funds? Are they in the trust funds hands at home? Or, as far as I know, they're not in the office. I've asked our lady and I've asked Elizabeth, and they said they're not there.
Okay,
And they should be in the office.
I agree. Have you checked with Artie?
Check what?
With Artie?
No, I haven't checked the party. But
All right.
either or, the trust fund book should be up there.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's not the old office that it used to be, hitting with a kerosene stove, and then you had to go shuffle the mice around the floor and get things done. It's
Right.
more modernized than that. So it doesn't work. When my wife was a trustee of the trust fund, the books were kept up.
Okay, all right.
And I think whoever has them, you can say, get them up.
Yes.
Why don't we ask the trustee of the trust fund where the books are?
I think that's a great suggestion.
Cookie?
It's a one.
Do you have the trust fund books at your house?
The checks just got deposited at the town this time, so yes, I just did them today.
How long have you had the books at your house?
Just got them, well, I've had the books for about a month or more right now,
Much
and
longer
this
than
is a bit
that,
longer
right?
now.
They belong in the safe, don't they?
Yep, they'll be back as soon as I can put all these receipts in. I'll make sure that they're Monday morning.
Betty?
Yeah, I had asked for this, I think I ask for this every year, and I'm always assured that it's going to be put into the select board's routine. But as a taxpayer, listening to all these nitpicking stuff that everybody has about where money's going, what I really like is a report from the treasurer, maybe once a month, that gives us up to date on where we are in regards to what was budgeted, and are we ahead, are we behind? Are we able to move some funds to cover the unexpected expenses? I have, and I heard a question here from somebody, I have absolutely no idea how all of this has affected us as a town in motion. I know we can't know for the end of the year,
Right.
but I'm used to, as a board member on all the other boards, knowing at month's end, with closing of those books, where we are overall. And I mean, that's a paragraph. All that says is our income as we had anticipated it to this day, our expenditures are over by 10,000 or under by 2,000. It just would be able to give us some sense of where we are.
Like a percent, like as we go along each month,
Right.
a percentage of where we are in the budget to have an idea of, yep.
Liz, and then
That's a proper treasurer's report. What
Right.
we've been receiving isn't a treasurer's report.
I agree.
It's just, where we started at the month and where we are now. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry.
It's
My brain is
It's
just.
very
Right,
It's
I've
the
been
heat.
told
It is
that
gonna
the
be
trust
heat.
fund booklets have not been in the town office for 3 years. Not 3 months, just so you know.
Oh, okay. They'll be back in Monday morning for your.
Yes, they will.
All right.
No, I was just going to say, Brian Howe, former treasurer, when he would come to the meetings, he always gave a report as to where
Where we were.
what was spent, what was
Yeah.
available. So I think that he's right, it would be a good idea to have the treasurer give us a report as to.
And it doesn't have to be just once a month. It doesn't have to be every meeting.
Right.
Just once a month, just to let people know.
I think that's a good.
I think it would be very useful. So I'll talk to the treasurer about providing that kind of information once a month. So, and if we could get that posted on the town website, that would be
Even
better.
better.
You know,
Absolutely.
so people don't feel like they have to come to our board and select to get their numbers.
Okay, the accountant would have those records too.
Right. Okay, that's big. Yep.
So, we have new business, or is this just comments?
Public input?
Public input. I have a couple of things for Forest Fire Board when past you. Every year they send us RCFP grant, which is Rural Community Fire Protection grant, and it's 50/50 cost share. The prime consideration is for PPE, personal protective gear, and we need to buy pants, headlights, and lamps, hard lights.
Correct.
Guys, if we don't have that, all we have is 2 more extras. So, I just wanted to run that by we have to go to the 27th to fill this out, and I have to go get quotes from like 4 or 5 other vendors, with a list in the back of this, but here's the whole spiel right here.
Okay,
So you guys can-
all right, this, so it's 50, the sale covered 50% of the cost?
Yep, as long as you approve it.
Oh, that sounds, okay.
It's like, just for background, last time, we applied for it, actually, we had purchased a pump from the 98 Ice Storm grant, and then I requested a hair dike, which is a canvas 500-gallon, bag that will fit in the back of just about anything.
Yeah.
Subaru or a pickup truck, and the board denied it, because we needed that to support our pump, so I haven't really applied in the
Thanks, Jay, I appreciate it.
Yep, secondly, I'd like to suggest an appointment for Rachel Legg for Dorchester Deputy Warden. Just read you what she's been up to for the last year or so. Rachel is currently enrolled at PSU for pre-pharmacy. She's joined Roman Fire Department, is being sent to class for Structure Firefighter 1 and EMT. I strongly recommend that she be appointed to either Dorchester Forest Fire, a conduit to the Roman Fire Department.
That's a good idea. Since they're basically our fire protection unit. So.
On this side, yep.
Okay, all right, that's great. Okay. All right.
And thirdly, I'm very upset about what happened at the last meeting as far as the emergency management director went speaking the way she did. She challenged me as far as investigating the forest fire. In the course of the full meeting right here. You two selectmen are already well aware that I'm the person who's supposed to investigate a forest fire. Right?
As I stated at the meeting, yes.
Yep. This right here, is this still a Bible for emergency management?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It says that the chairman is responsible for the emergency management director. You're in charge of her. And she goes to make a statement like that. She's insulting. I've been forest fire warden here for 27 years. I've taken the time to learn the 150 pages in this, right? Right? And when someone stands up and insults me in the course of the meeting, I'm not going to tolerate that. So I have written a petition here to have her removed from her position.
Okay.
Plain and simple. And I'm very disappointed that you as chairman did not actually speak to her, because you acknowledged the fact that she was wrong. And this is very important. If you look in, if you look on the first page of this emergency management plan, it's kind of like pretty much self-explanatory. It says, the following natural and man-made emergencies are the prime consideration for emergency management plan in order of priority. Number 1, ice storm. Number 2, conflagration. Does everyone know what a conflagration is? Because the whole fucking town is going to burn down. And it's prime season right now. Okay? So that's what we're responsible for. So that's the second reason that we have this plan. And she's bashing me about what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't think so. It's not happening in this format. If you can't do something about it, I'll do something about it. Plain and simple.
Is that correct?
That's correct. I'll file suit myself if I have to. If you guys, it's like, you're the chairman, you're in charge of her, and she's going to sit there and tell me that I'm not supposed to investigate forest fire, actually, after you already know that I'm supposed to investigate forest fire? It's like, why do I have to sit through and be insulted like that?
Okay, Jay.
Plain and simple. Give me something.
What do you want?
I want you to get rid of her. That's what I want.
Well,
obviously, that's what my proposal is.
You understand that there's a process to that.
The process is you're in charge. You can tell her it's a plain position. You can have her removed right now.
I'm not going to do it right now. All right?
Why?
I'm not gonna do it right now.
So you hold her, her like beliefs
Jay,
higher than someone
Jay.
who's been around here doing their job and taking the time to learn what their job is to do and to do it securely? How many reports have you ever had about me on this whole town, or anybody has ever heard about me doing anything bad as forest fire? None, zero. I get an A on all my evaluations for the last 27 years from my forest ranger. It's like, don't tell me that I'm gonna sit here and have to listen to that. It's an insult, plain and simple. I take it very personally, like 100% personally. I'm not gonna have that happen here in a public forum.
Jay, you've made your point. You've been very clear about it.
Good.
I understand, okay?
Well,
I told you, I'm not gonna act on this right now, not tonight. I'm gonna read it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it over, I'll talk to you about it, but I'm not gonna act on it tonight.
it's the same thing that we've been talking about for the last 4 months.
Is that clear though?
Yes. Well, it's clear to me, I guess, if you didn't make a stance on it last time, I'm very disappointed about that. You didn't say a word about that. You didn't say that she's wrong, you know?
I did, Jay. I
But-
pointed out,
Yeah,
Jay,
there has to be some sort of action taken against her.
Jay, I'm gonna make a statement here,
Okay?
and that's the end of this discussion. Is that clear?
As far as you're concerned,
If you're gonna continue it, public input is over and the meeting's adjourned.
why? You can't take it?
Of course I can take it, Jay. I am tired of debating this with you and wasting everybody else's time.
It's not a waste of time. You guys wasting my time. We're sitting here having to listen to that. It's just disgusting. You know, it's like you put 27 years into something and someone tells you that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it's like, come on, give me a break.
At the meeting, last meeting, I was very clear that I had spoken to Steve Sherman, the ranger in charge, who made it very clear to me that you have authority to investigate fires.
What did I say? It's all breaking on the petition.
I stated that at the meeting.
We've already presented all those RSAs to you the first couple times we've met. It's like we have photocopies of all that stuff. What I can do.
I don't know why in the first place she even questioned that.
My authority.
Well, I don't know. Nowhere in that emergency management plan does it say she investigates fires. She is the one that's supposed to delegate support for the people like the police, the fire, you guys. You tell her when it's time to have emergency management into action. And
She's just supposed to sit there and make like phone calls and direct. She's not supposed to have keys to anything or be responsible for that. That's all the delegates. That's like the forest fire warden is one of the delegates. It's like the road agent is. It's like the treasurer is. It's like, it's like, read that. Did she ever read that? I don't believe so.
Jay, you've made your point. I understand. I'm going to read this. I'll follow up on it.
I have enough.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand your impatience. I understand your
It's not
frustration.
patience. We've been doing this for 4 months. 4 months.
And,
one issue.
you know, we have been working on a lot of other things too
I
at the same
understand
time.
that, but this is prime, you don't understand.
I do understand because I was a fireman.
Right. Well, do you know how dry it is outside right now?
I sure as hell do.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, guess what? It's gonna get drier.
All right. I'm going to look at this. I'll talk to you about it, but I'm not going to act on it tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Go home to air conditioning.
What is that?